It is time. I've been talking about this too much, but we are in a new year, and I am finally, knock on wood, hopefully, fingers crossed, going to start consistently posting to this channel to build it up to talk about soccer separate from youth soccer development and just talk about the sport itself. I mean, we've got the Men's World Cup coming up this summer in the United States. The women, as we talk about here with the She Believes Cup coming up, are headed into important soccer, shall I say, important competitive soccer, as they are towards the end of the year going to be into World Cup qualifying because the Women's World Cup is next year. It hits hard and fast, right? It's a 4-year cycle, but the way it's lined, the men's and the women's are back to back. And then right after that, we've got the Olympics, not as big a deal on the men's side, but a pretty big deal on the women's side as well. So let's dig in. We've got the She Believes Cup coming up. Now, what's kind of interesting about this, that at least for me, that I like to look at, is I believe we'll have some different players that we'll be looking at, because this is not, we've got camp coming up, at least, with camp and friendlies and so forth. We've got camp coming up, and it is not a traditional international break. Okay. If I worded that correctly, if that makes sense. The US team has risen back. I know it sounds wild because it's not like we dropped a ridiculous amount, but they've risen back up to number 2 in the world behind Spain. As you can see, we will face Argentina, Canada, and Colombia in the She Believes Cup in early March. I think March 4th is the first game. Let me see. We got March 1st, Canada. We play in Columbus, Ohio on March 4th, and Colombia in Harrison, New Jersey. Oh, okay, wait. So hold on. Argentina, we play in Tennessee on March 1st. Canada in Columbus, Ohio on March 4th, and then Colombia in Harrison, New Jersey on March 7th, ranked number 2 in the world behind Spain. Canada, of course, we will see in the World Cup qualifying, as it talks about. And Colombia and Argentina, 2 pretty good teams right now, played each other, it says here, in the Copa America semifinals. Colombia won that, went and then lost to Brazil in the tournament final, which was on PKs. These are 3 teams that will likely be in the World Cup in 2027, and of course, we'll likely see Canada in World Cup qualifying at the end of the year. So, when focusing on our continued preparations and growth as a team, the She Believes Cup is of great value, USA head coach Emma Hayes said in a statement. Each team brings different strengths and will challenge us to find success in all parts of the field, which is exactly what we need as we continue our process to build toward the big events on the horizon, which, of course, is again next year, the Olympics. So, that is what, a year and a half away, about a year and a half away. The US had won 5 consecutive She Believes titles. They lost to Japan in the final last year, so, a little something to prove. That's what, again, what I said. They kind of went through, they've gone through, I won't say difficult times, right? But we've just seen what happens as the rest of the world starts to play more soccer on the women's side, more resources go into the competition, gets better. And then, of course, at the same time, the U.S. women were having changes, as we've seen, by a whole lot of different names on the roster, young players coming up, teenagers getting a lot of time with Emma Hayes lately. And so it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I'm really looking forward to not just how well the team does in qualifying in terms of getting to the World Cup, but what the roster is going to look like, because through injuries and so forth, Emma Hayes, and retirements too as well, but we've seen a lot of young players come in and get time with Emma Hayes and be impressive, right? They've been impressive as well. So it's going to be really interesting to see what this roster looks like come World Cup time next year. The next camp starts actually, I think, Saturday, right? So we've got from Saturday, from January 7th to the 17th to the 27th. Matches are going to be against Paraguay on the 24th, against Chile on the 27th. So we'll get to see some different players in that as well. And like it says here, and I've said already, it's a critical year. You've got the CONCACAF W Championship, which is uh, serve as qualifying for the 2027 World Cup, which, yes, the 2027 World Cup is next year. And then the 2028 Olympics, which is in Los Angeles, is the year following. So basically, starting now, it is shall we? I don't want to say season, but I was going to say competitive season. You and I know what I mean for the women going forward. It is no longer we're kind of in that lull where it's yeah, you play some friendlies here and there, but there's nothing really serious on the horizon. You kind of get to experiment, give some players some time that haven't had that time in order to see what they might bring going forward. So we know we're not defending World Cup champs. We are defending Olympic gold cups, not defending World Cup champs. We all know unfortunately, how that ended in 2023, not well. I don't think any of us were really happy. I can still see, I can still see when I close my eyes. Heck, I can see it when I don't close my eyes. Megan Rapinoe sailing a PK 50,000 feet over the crossbar. Yeah. So anyway, I just want to talk a little bit about the She Believes coming up and the She Believes Cup coming up and the fact that we're kind of going forward. It's all serious stuff for the U.S. women's team, and there are going to be a lot of changes. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes. And of course, we have Emma Hayes' very first World Cup in charge of the U.S. women's team. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate you checking this out. Do me a favor, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Really do appreciate it. I will talk to you later.